Okay, so have you ever felt this? You're in an organization, right? And it feels like they're doing all the right things, implementing all these shiny new processes.
Yeah, ticking the boxes. Looks good on paper.
Exactly, ticking the boxes. But somehow the big change is the ones everyone actually wants. They just aren't sticking. They're not taking hold.
Yeah, like the engine's revving, but the car's not really moving.
That's it, exactly. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into Agile transformation. Now, lots of people look at Agile for, faster delivery, less waste, more
The
predictability.
usual suspects, the operational benefits.
Right. But our source material for this deep dive, an article called Agile, a Leadership Transformation in Disguise, suggests something,
Yeah.
well, something much deeper. It argues the real power, and maybe the biggest hurdle, isn't the tools or rituals at all. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, you've really hit on something crucial there. I mean, organizations don't just decide to go agile for, fun.
Right, it's not a hobby.
Definitely not. They do it because, well, frankly, the world around them is moving faster than they can keep up. You've got shifting markets, customer expectations changing constantly.
And disruptive tech popping up everywhere.
Exactly. So agile is often seen as this survival mechanism, a way to try and become more responsive, more adaptive.
Precisely. And our mission today, really, is to explore what that true Agile transformation looks like, and maybe more importantly, why it stalls so often, even when, all the steps seem to be followed.
Right.
We want to uncover the real transformation happening, or maybe not happening, the one our source says might be hiding in plain sight.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning. When a company decides, okay, we're going Agile, what does that usually look like, on the ground? What are those first steps?
Well, the first moves are almost always operational, very visible stuff. You'll see daily stand-ups starting, teams getting together for quick syncs. They'll start doing sprint planning, breaking work into these short cycles.
Okay. Iterations?
Well, yeah. And often, agile coaches come in, they talk about velocity.
Right, how much stuff the team gets done.
Kind of, yeah. How much work they can reliably finish in a sprint.
Yeah.
And burn downs those charts showing work remaining. And of course,
Let me guess. Post-it notes.
Post-it notes everywhere, covering the walls, visualizing the workflow. So, on the surface, it looks like a ton of positive activity, lots of buzz.
And I can see how that would lead to what you call the delivery illusion, right?
Yeah.
Leaders see the meetings, the charts, the sticky notes, and they think, great, it's working. We're Agile now.
Yes, exactly. It absolutely creates that illusion of progress. You see the activity, you assume agility is taking root. It's a natural assumption, but often, well, it's misleading.
Also,
Our source puts it really well. Ceremonies without mindset shifts are like planting seeds in concrete rituals grow, but results do not.
wow, planting seeds in concrete.
Yeah. You can go through all the motions, do all the rituals, but if the underlying thinking, the culture doesn't change, those rituals are basically hollow. You're just, performing.
That really hits home. It underlines that core truth from the source. The hard truth is that process alone cannot deliver agility.
Exactly.
Without that deeper shift, Agile just kind of fizzles out, becomes, like the source says, performative theater.
Performative theater is a great way to describe it. Teams are busy doing agile, check, check, check.
Well, the leaders.
While leaders often continue being traditional, same old command structures, just with new meeting names.
So if all that activity can be an illusion and process isn't the answer, then what is the real engine for change here?
Now we get to the core argument.
This is the interesting part.
It is. The source argues Agile isn't fundamentally about process. It's about people. And crucially, the way they're led.
Yeah.
It suggests Agile is actually a leadership transformation cleverly disguised as a delivery transformation.
A leadership transformation in disguise.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that shifts the focus completely, doesn't it? Away from tools and rituals.
Entirely. Towards the human element. Towards leadership behaviors. And the source actually outlines 4 pretty radical shifts in leadership that are needed.
4 shifts. Okay, let's break them down. What's the first one?
The first is moving from command to context. Think about traditional leadership. It's often about commanding. Right?
Sure. Here's what to do. Here's how. Here's the deadline.
Exactly. Very top-down, very instructional. Agile leaders, though, they provide context.
Context. How so?
They say, look, here's the problem we need to solve. Here's why it's important. Here's the outcome we're aiming for.
The why.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And here's the space for you, the team, to figure out the best solution. It's replacing that tight control with clarity about the goal and then trust, Huge amounts of trust.
That's a massive difference, giving the why, not just the what. Okay, that feels fundamental. What's the second shift?
The second is from certainty to curiosity.
Certainty to curiosity.
Okay. In many traditional setups, leaders kind of get rewarded for having all the answers, right? For being the expert,
Yeah, the go-to person.
the one who knows.
Mm-hmm. But in Agile, the best leaders, they actually ask better questions.
Interesting.
It's a real mindset shift, moving away from needing to prove we were right towards wanting to learn what's true. It takes humility. It takes a willingness to experiment.
And being okay with not knowing everything up front.
Absolutely. Being brave enough to say, actually, I don't know the answer here. Let's run a test. Let's learn together.
Yeah.
It's about embracing uncertainty, not fighting it.
So less knowing it all, more learning it all. That ties into the third shift too, I imagine, which
From
is
heroic leadership to collective leadership.
okay, heroic leadership, like the lone genius leader.
Exactly. Agile really challenges that myth of the heroic leader, the single person with the grand vision making all the key calls.
Instead, it focuses on the wisdom of the collective. It recognizes that pulling together diverse perspectives, empowering the team, that usually leads to way better, more robust answers.
So leadership becomes less concentrated.
Yeah, it becomes a distributed capability, not a concentrated power. And I'll tell you, the source notes, this can be really uncomfortable for leaders who've built careers on being that heroic decision maker.
I can imagine. It's asking them to redefine their roles, share the power. That's huge. Which leads us to the fourth shift.
The fourth one is from managing outputs to nurturing outcomes.
Outputs versus outcomes. Okay, what's the difference in this context?
Well, leaders often get fixated on output. Things like how many features did we ship? How many tasks did the team complete? Measurable activity.
Yeah, sounds familiar. The busyness metrics.
Right. But the source argues this misses the whole point. Agile's real focus should be on outcomes.
So, did we actually solve the customer's problem?
Exactly. Did we deliver value? Did we achieve the goal we set out to achieve? Did we make a difference? Leaders have to shift how they measure success away from just raw productivity towards genuine impact.
From efficiency to effectiveness, almost.
That's a great way to put it. It's not about how busy you look, it's about the meaningful results you actually deliver.
So putting these four shifts together, command to context, certainty to curiosity, heroic to collective, outputs to outcomes. It's not just tweaking things, is it?
Not at all.
It's a fundamental rethink of what leadership even is. Moving from controlling people to enabling them, from directing work to shaping the environment where good work happens.
Absolutely. It's a profound redesign. And understanding this helps explain why this leadership piece is so often the blocker, why it's the silent struggle.
Because changing tools is one thing.
Relatively easy, yeah. Introducing stand-ups. Simple. But changing hearts and minds is not. That's the tough part.
And the source points to some specific barriers, right? Things that make this leadership shift so incredibly hard.
It does. First, there's just plain old cultural inertia.
Meaning?
Hierarchies, command and control. These things are baked deep into the DNA of many organizations. And honestly, letting go of power feels risky, not just personally, but systemically.
Yeah, you feel like you're losing control of the ship.
Exactly, which ties into the second barrier, a real fear of irrelevance.
Ah. So if teams are empowered, making decisions, the leader thinks.
They start wondering, well, what's my job now if I'm not directing traffic? What am I supposed to do? It can genuinely feel like an identity crisis for someone used to being the primary decision maker.
I can see that. And then there are the practical, maybe more structural issues.
Definitely. The source calls them legacy systems. Think about old school budgeting cycles, rigid annual plans, traditional performance reviews, reporting structures that demand predictability.
Right. They all reinforce the old ways of working.
They absolutely reinforce old leadership patterns. You can't just stick agile teams into that old structure and expect magic. It creates friction. It pulls things back to the old ways.
Like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Pretty much. And maybe the deepest barrier is personal identity. For a lot of leaders, their authority, their status, their sense of self-worth is all tied up in that traditional model of leadership.
So asking them to shift to being more of a servant leader, an enabler.
It can feel like an existential shift. It challenges their core understanding of their role and value.
Wow. No wonder it's difficult. It's not just learning new buzzwords. It's deep personal and cultural change.
Precisely.
And it explains why so many transformations stall. It's not, as the source says so powerfully, that teams don't know how to sprint. It's that leaders don't know how to let them run.
That line really captures it, doesn't it?
It really does. So, okay, This raises the big question then. If leadership is the key, the real transformation needed, what can leaders actually do? What are the practical steps?
Well, the first point the source makes is crucial. Leaders must transform themselves before asking their organizations to transform. You have to walk the talk.
Lead by example. Makes sense. So
Right.
where do they start, practically speaking?
Okay, the source lists several starting points. First, lead with purpose, not process.
Okay, connect the work to the why.
Exactly. Constantly articulate why this work matters. How does this sprint goal connect to the bigger picture, the customer outcome? Don't just manage the tasks. Inspire understanding of the mission.
Got it. Give meaning, not just instructions. What's next?
Second, and this is huge, create psychological safety.
Meaning teams feel safe to fail, or rather, to experiment.
Yes. Safe to speak up, safe to challenge ideas respectfully, safe to admit mistakes, safe to try things that might not work out. Innovation absolutely requires this. If people are afraid of blame, they won't take risks.
Absolutely critical. Okay, number 3.
Third, leaders need to tackle those structural issues we mentioned. They need to actively work to redesign governance.
So changing the budgeting, the KPIs.
Yep. Adapting budgeting so it supports learning and pivoting, not just locking in annual plans. Changing KPIs so they reward outcomes and learning, not just output. Adjusting reporting so it supports transparency and adaptation. It's hard work, but necessary.
Tackling the system itself. Then,
Fourth, actively practice servant leadership. Shift your mindset from, what have you done for me lately, to, what can I do to help you succeed? How can I remove roadblocks?
become an enabler, a supporter.
Precisely. Fifth, reward adaptability. Don't just praise teams for sticking rigidly to the plan. Celebrate when they learn something new and pivot effectively, even if it means changing course. Make learning and adapting the valued behavior.
So recognizing that change is often a sign of strength, not weakness.
Exactly. And finally, number 6, and this loops back to the start, develop yourself. Leaders need to actively seek out coaching, get feedback, really listen to it, and commit to continuous learning specifically about agile leadership, not just agile mechanics. Challenge your own assumptions.
It's an ongoing journey for the leader too then, not a one-off training course.
Absolutely not. It's a continuous practice.
Okay, to really drive this home, the source uses a story, right? A comparison of 2 organizations.
Yeah, it's a really effective illustration. Let's call them Organization A and Organization B. Both decide to adopt Agile around the same time.
Okay, so Organization A, what did they do?
Organization A went by the book, seemingly, rolled out Scrum ceremonies meticulously, hired coaches, measured velocity, burn downs, all that stuff.
Yeah, like they ticked all the boxes we talked about earlier.
No, they did. But, and this is the crucial part, that their leaders still demanded rigid annual plans, punished failure severely, and ultimately made all the big decisions themselves, often just overruling the teams.
So the leadership behavior didn't change.
Not fundamentally. And the result, the source says, teams complied, but innovation flatlined. The transformation fizzled. They were doing agile theater, basically. The spirit was missing because leadership smuttered it.
Wow. Okay, so what about Organization B? They also rolled out Scrum.
Yes, they did the operational stuff too. Stand-ups, sprints, the works. But, and here's the difference, its leaders went further. They actively stopped dictating solutions. Instead, they focused on sharing outcomes, the why, and truly empowered teams to experiment.
So they practiced those shifts we discussed, context over command.
Exactly. And critically, they also publicly admitted when their own strategies failed. They modeled vulnerability and a commitment to learning from mistakes, not hiding them.
That takes guts. And the result for Org B?
The result was transformation took time, but over time, the culture shifted. The source says, agility took root, not because of Scrum, but because of leadership.
That contrast is so stark.
Isn't it?
It makes a point so clearly. The difference wasn't process, it was leadership.
Yeah.
That really feels like the headline for this whole discussion.
It really is. If you zoom out, look at the bigger picture here. Agile isn't just some delivery upgrade you install. It's fundamentally a leadership revolution.
A revolution, okay.
Yeah. All the visible stuff, the stand-ups, the boards, the sprints, that's just the surface layer. The real transformation, the deep, impactful change, is leaders evolving, moving from commanders to enablers, from knowers to learners, from controllers to coaches.
It's a complete shift in the leadership paradigm.
It really is. It's about leading effectively in a world that demands adaptability.
And the implications are huge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Organizations that just treat Agile like a new process.
They'll probably see some small gains, maybe. A bit faster here, a bit more efficient there, marginal improvements.
But the ones that truly embrace it as this leadership transformation.
Ah, those are the ones, according to the source, that will build genuinely adaptive, resilient, and future-ready enterprises. They're building a different kind of organization altogether, one capable of thriving in uncertainty.
So it's the difference between a temporary tune-up and actually building a high-performance engine for the long haul.
Well put.
Okay, so as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to take away from this. It comes straight from the source material and kind of sums it all up.
Yeah.
A Agile doesn't just ask, how fast can you deliver? It asks, how willing are you to change the way you lead? Something for you to ponder.